Hello everybody. I know it's been a kind of a hot minute since I've made a video. Things have just been kind of stressful. We just got a new car. My dad got a 2004 Lexus. It's actually got leather interior. There is some wear and tear to the leather and the dashboard. Maybe the people on the dog or something, because there was a little bit of dog hair in the used car we got. It was from a reputable person. My sister's fiance basically knows the guy that sold the cars and says he is very reputable, and he has this thing where he will not sell a car unless he knows it's going to last longer than a year and you're going to be happy with your purchase. So it's a 2004 Lexus, like SUV type thing. It's pretty nice. We had to buy a hookup for which you can get at any car place. We went to an O'Reilly's where my not the exact one, but an O'Reilly's where my sister's fiance works, and got a something to play Bluetooth, like phones and stuff. So anyway, and then 2 days ago I went to see Thunderbolts finally, and I think I made a review of that, so I won't say any more of that. What I really want to talk about is Andor, the last arc before Rogue One. And I thought they ended really well. I thought it was a really fun 2 seasons. We knew it was going to be 2 seasons. We knew that was going to be it. We knew that it was going to lead into Rogue One. And the first episode of the arc was basically Luthen and Kleya coming to terms with Luthen has to do something that might end his life, which is get vital information about the super weapon that the Empire is building that we all know is the Death Star. So this is what's going to lead into Rogue One and finding the Death Star plans so that they can blow it up in A New Hope. So he does that, and then he meets his Empire guy that gives him information, and then he shoots him, I guess, to leave no loose ends so he doesn't get caught and tell, anything vital information. So then he talks to Kleya, says, I gotta go back to the office. And she's like, no, let me do it. Let me destroy the evidence. Let me destroy everything. And he's like, no, I've got to do it. You stay safe. And so he does that. And who comes knocking at the door as he's destroying the radio stuff? Deidre. Deidre comes knocking or ringing at the door, and they know what's going down. They know this is going to be a last confrontation. So it ends up with Deidre telling him, we're going to arrest you, blah, blah, blah. And then she sees the stuff being destroyed and points the gun at him and says, turn around. Too late. He stabbed himself. They get a med vac, get him to the hospital. And Kleya is distraught. She's upset. She witnesses him being taken away in the ambulance, goes back to the safe house, gets ready, and then she goes on her mission. Her mission is, and they do flashbacks, and the flashbacks are that, in fact, I was wrong. Kleya is not dating Luthen. She is his adopted daughter, who he found like on a mission or something. She was hiding in the ship that they were in. So she goes to the hospital. She has to kill Luthen. He's like on life support because she doesn't want him divulging any information about anything, and he's gonna die anyway. So she did something very hard, and now the Empire's after her. So she's in the safe house and has a little CB radio, which is she's writing to, I think it went to Willman, who talked to Andor, Cassian about it, and they found out, hey, it's got to be Luthen. They didn't know he died at this point. So they mount this mission. They don't ask anybody. They just go, which he apparently does a lot and gets in trouble, Cassian. I think the comic relief for these 2 episodes was K2SO, the droid. He was really, really funny. And so they get to her, and then the Empire sees the CB radio stuff. Somehow some of the radio still works and he destroyed. And they are on their way right as Andor is meeting her. And then the episode ends. And the second episode, they basically the way they get out of it. First, the Empire does a stun thing that stuns everybody and hurts Clea really badly. And they take out a couple of Empire guys, and the rest are taken out by K2SO. He takes out all of them. I mean, he's like the Terminator, basically. So then they're making it back to Yavin, the base on Yavin, and they're coming in hot, and they don't know if it's like bad guys who took a ship, is it Andor, and they make it in, and they are not happy with Andor at all. Clea goes to get medical help. So they take her to the medical bay, and Andor tries to explain, and he explains, if it weren't for Luthen, who they all hate, the only one that doesn't is Mon Mothma, because she had a friendship with him. We wouldn't have a rebellion. We'd all be dead, We'd all be not doing this right now. So it pains me to see you guys, picking on him like this. If it weren't for him, you wouldn't have all this. And he told him about the Death Star. They didn't know it was the Death Star at this point. They just know it's a super weapon. So I think going into Rogue One, you don't know it's a Death Star. You just know it's a super weapon. And they know the name of Galen Erso. And someone asked in my message board, they said, how do they know about Jyn Erso? Because if you know Galen, you know who his daughter is. That's how they know. That's simple answer. So they make it back. They have some words back and forth, have some tender moments, and you find out that Bix is okay and fine on the planet where she is, and they end of the episode, like the way into the episode, they mention the mission, the person he has to meet in the beginning of Rogue One on the something ring, I forget what they called it. The Rishi ring, the something ring, I forget what they called it, but they mentioned that. So then the next episode picks up, or was that the third episode? I forget. I think that might have been the third episode. So the third episode, oh no, this is the third episode. I'm talking about the third episode. My bad, I am sorry. So yeah, they bring up that, and then Cassian goes to bed and wakes up the next morning to K2SO going like that to him, or something poking him in the face with his metal hands. And he meets someone who he didn't get along with. He meets up with Bail Organa, and they kind of make a little peace thing going on, and they talk about how Cassian says, "I know you would have liked you would have got along with Luthen, I think." So then some epic ending music starts coming on. You kind of realize this is the end, right before he goes on the mission to is it the Cassini ring or something, or whatever ring that is in the beginning of Rogue One. And he goes and he walks past a battalion of marching soldiers, rebel soldiers, and they show all the different characters in the series, including Mon Mothma, including the I forget her name. Is she blonde or redhead? Who was in the first season? Who is her name? Ferrix? No, I forget what her name is. Whatever her name is, the blonde girl. They show her and Mon Mothma sitting together at the table, and then they show Mon's husband flying in a. And I always got the sense that they didn't get along, that they were not that close, and he was pro-Empire, she was pro-Rebellion, and they didn't get along. It was an arranged marriage, and they didn't get, maybe they were even hinting at that in the last season, that it was kind of like an open marriage or something. I kind of got that sense that a lot of people on that planet, because it's arranged marriages, don't last or are not faithful or whatever. And they're all okay with it. They show the husband flying in a speeder on Coruscant. No, Ferrix was a planet, wasn't it? Wasn't Ferrix a planet? I forget that girl's name. I can't remember it. But anyway, so they show Mon's husband flying with a woman we've seen before. She has like high dark hair and always dresses nicely. He was apparently either having an affair with her or Mon and him had split. You know, if not officially, they just did. And so he was having either an affair or just with another woman. And he was in a cab or something or limo and drinking and whatnot. So then they just kept showing these different montages of different characters and stuff. And finally, it cuts to Cassian and K2SO, and the music stops when they get the ship. And they talk about the going to the Cassini ring, or whatever it's called. And that's, again, they're going on the mission that we see in Rogue One, which I'm going to pop on later today. And then you go straight from the scene of them flying off on their mission to Bix. And Bix, you see the droids first from the red one, the square droid you see in the first season. And you see, walking in the distance in the field, on the planet that we see that opens up the show. It's like a farming planet. She goes back there, I guess. And she's holding a baby. And I lost it at this point. I started crying. The baby is hers and Cassian's baby. Cassian's never going to see this baby because he dies soon after in the events of Rogue One. And I was like, he's never going to, or her, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, the baby is never going to see their father. And she's looking off into the distance, almost longingly, like, when is my husband going to come home? You know, and I really hope that somebody at that base, after Cassian did what he did and the Death Star was destroyed, I really, really hope someone told, maybe way before the Death Star got to the base, that someone told Bix what happened to Cassian. I would think the blonde girl I told you about, the one that's in the rebellion, and the one that was with what's her name, Cinta, the gay one. She was closest with her. I would think she would tell her what happened to Cassian. So yeah, great ending. And then I would recommend to anybody watching this who hasn't seen it yet, or even if you have and you're watching it again, stay through the credits. At the last leg of the credits, they play the original Star Wars music, the one that ends with that crescendo of drums at the end of the credits, and it's somewhere in the movie. It's that classic Star Wars John Williams music. It's oh my god, it just brings you back to that first Star Wars movie. I forget the name of that track. I will try to look it up before I post this video, and I will try to post that. I will also try to find that girl's name, who I can't think of it, and I will put it in the description of this video. That, and I might even put the song in here if I can. So anyway, that's going to be it, guys. The song from Star Wars. That's going to be it, guys. Thank you very much, and may the Force be with you, and have a great day.